Konnichiwa. Today again we'll be talking about how things seem. The word that we're going to learn about this time is rashi. So the word rashi is used to say that a person or thing is representing a trait of itself. So what does that mean? Well, for example, if I were to say Wan-chan wa inu rashi inu dane, that would mean Wan-chan is a dog-like dog, isn't he? Inu rashi means dog-like. Now, an important thing about rashi is that the person or the item or animal that rashi is being used with has to be a member of the group that we're using the word rashi together with. So, for example, you'll remember in the last sentence we said inu rashi inu, and that is fine, but we could not say inu rashi neko because a cat is not a dog. A cat can never be inu rashi. Only a dog can be that. We would use mitai or some other word in that case. For another example, if we said Tanaka sensei wa totemo otona rashi desu, that would mean Tanaka sensei is very mature. Breaking that down a little bit further, otona means adult. I believe we've introduced this word before, but it doesn't hurt to refresh. So because otona means adult, otona rashi means adult-like or mature. And totemo means very. Another important thing to note about the word rashi is that it is an e adjective. It will be treated as such and it will be conjugated just like an e adjective. So, digging into that a little bit more, if, for example, we were to say, Ken-kun wa shogakusei da, demo yoku muzukashii hon o yomu, zenzen kodomo rashiku nai. That would mean Ken-kun is an elementary school student, but he often reads difficult books. He's not childlike at all. In that case, of course, kodomo rashi means childlike, so kodomo rashiku nai means not childlike. So let's look a little bit more closely at that word zenzen. So we learned in our lesson about adverbs that zenzen means never, and that is true, but it can also mean not at all. And in our sentence in the previous slide, that's exactly how it was used. Notice also in that previous sentence that we use zenzen together with the negative form of the adjective rashi. We need that double negative in there again. And looking again at that word, we introduced the word shogakusei. That means elementary schooler. Shogaku means elementary school. Similarly, chugaku means middle school, and chugakusei means middle schooler. And finally, koukou means high school, and koukousei means high schooler. Looking at one more example sentence before we move on, if we were to say, Kanamori sensei wa kagakusha rashiku itsumo shitsumon o kikimasu. We are, in this case, using the adverb form of the adjective rashi. So the sentence would translate to something like, just like a scientist, Kanamori sensei always asks questions. Again, kagakusha rashi would mean scientist-like or like a scientist. So kagakusha rashiku means someone's doing something as a scientist would do it, essentially. Now let's take a look at that word kiku. Now I believe we learned the word kiku already, but we learned that it means to listen, which it does. But that same word with the same kanji can also mean to ask. So shitsumon o kiku means to ask a question. And the word kagaku means science. The word kagakusha means scientist. Now we are about ready to practice using rashi, but before we do that, we're going to learn a few vocabulary words that we're going to use in the coming questions. So our first word is tuna, which means tuna. Pretty easy to remember. Ichinichi ju means all day long. Tobu means to fly. Dacho means ostrich. While it can be written in hiragana as well, and it does have an accepted kanji writing, it is usually written in katakana, so that's how I've written it here. Daitoryou means president, specifically of a country. And finally, Washington means Washington. Keep in mind that there is no gu sound in here. It is not Washington, it's Washington. All right, now time to practice. Our first sentence, Washington was presidential, and this will be formal. Washington wa daitoryou rashikatta desu. Our second sentence, tuna has a very fishy taste, and this will be informal. Tuna wa totemo sakana rashi aji ga aru. Our third sentence, because ostriches cannot fly, they are not bird-like, and this will be formal. Dacho wa tobenai kara tori rashiku arimasen, or tori rashiku nai desu. And our final sentence for today. Just like a cat, Fua-chan slept all day long, and this will be informal. Fua-chan wa neko rashiku ichinichi ju neta. That is all for this grammar lesson. I will see you all next week. Ja mata.